How are you doing? Are you good? Are you doing all right? Are you great? It's a response that people make a lot, isn't it? Oh, I'm great, thanks, I'm great. What is being great? I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to be great. I think it's a good thing. I think God is great and He wants you to be great. I wonder how we define what being great is. Is it being famous? I don't think so. I think you can be famous but not great, and I think you can be great and not famous. So what's being great? I wonder what you'd talk about if you got the opportunity to spend some time with Lionel Messi. I mean, I'd love to have some time with Lionel Messi, and I'd talk about football. I wonder what you'd talk about if you had some time with John Lennon. I would love to have had some time with John Lennon, and I would talk about music. I'd talk about music with John Lennon. I mean, I'd just love to know how he wrote such amazing songs. I wonder what you'd talk about if you met with Ansel Adams. Ansel Adams, an accomplished pianist, but also a stunning photographer of scenery. I'd want to ask about photography if I had some time with Ansel Adams. I wonder what you'd talk about if you had time with someone like Picasso. I guess I'd talk about art. The disciples had 3 years with Jesus, and on the way to the cross, they're having a conversation. And they know that Jesus is heading to the cross, but it's a long journey that He's taking them on. It's taking some time. And at one point on the journey, they're having a discussion. And they're having a discussion about who's the greatest. Who's great? And it seems like they've not said Jesus. It would seem that way. I mean, Jesus is aware of their conversation, but He's not in their conversation later in the day. He's going to ask them about it. And they've been talking about who's the greatest. And Jesus, at the end of the day, he has some time with them, and He says to them, what were you talking about on the road? And they keep quiet, and He knows that they've been talking about who's the greatest. And I wonder if it's because they're in the presence of greatness, because they're with Jesus. So if you're with Lionel Messi, you talk about football, John Lennon, music, Picasso, art, Ansel Adams, photography, Jesus, greatness, because He's great. And they're trying to work out what greatness is and how they can be great. And Jesus doesn't tell them, don't try to be great. He just defines for them what greatness is. He talks about how being great is to serve and is to humble yourself, and is not to seek prominence, but to invest in other people, to be a bringer of good news and a bringer of hope. And hey, how are you doing? I hope you're great. I hope you're doing great. I hope greatness in that aspect is being formed in you and in me, because Jesus wants you to be great. But not like in a way of trying to be the centre of attention, and not in a kind of way that's seeking the limelight, and not in a kind of way that's trying to be famous, but a greatness that knows what it is to serve and love and bless and be there for others with the gospel and with good news. And so I don't think greatness is a competition between you and someone else, because if it is, when you become the best at something, it just becomes the ceiling. I think greatness is about becoming the best version of the person that God's made you to be, that you could possibly be. So the competition is only with you. So are you more gracious than you used to be? Am I more forgiving than I was? Are you more courageous with the good news than you used to be? Am I more willing to serve than I used to be? Because greatness, I think, is about becoming more and more Christ-like in those areas, about growing in those things. So today, I hope that you're the greatest. I hope that you just become the greatest you that you could possibly be. It's not wrong to want to be great. It's wrong to want to compare yourself and beat others, I guess. But Jesus is great, and when we're in His presence, It stirs something in us that wants to move towards greatness. But greatness isn't about fame, and it's not about putting other people down. It's about becoming the best you that you could be, so that you can bless as many people as possible. So, have a great day.